Okay, here are the final exercises for the entire course. These are exercises on function pointers. Firstly, not too difficult. Modify the course project to add another menu option. Remember all the menu options? File save, file open, file new, all that stuff. I want another menu option. I want it to be called sort, and it's going to sort all our CDs. It's not going to print them out, it's just going to sort them. It's going to cause our list to be reorganized based on something. Based on what? Well, how would you sort a list of CDs? That's a question I'm going to leave up to you. What is the sort criterion going to be? Are you going to sort it based on the artist name? Are you going to sort it based on the name of the CD, the title? Are you going to sort it based on the number of tracks in the CD? It's completely up to you. In my solution, if I recall, I sorted it by the artist name, and if there were two CDs that happened to have the same artist name, then I sorted it by the title of the CD. See if you can get that working, if you get your own simpler version working. Okay, so you're simply just going to have to insert another menu option into your program. You will be using function pointers. You won't be declaring any function pointers, but you will be taking advantage of the function pointers provided by qsort. So you'll need to write, obviously, the comparison function, and that's all. Now, think about the steps that you're going to have to take in order to insert a menu option. Well, obviously that big switch statement is going to have to change. Remember the switch statement? You're probably just going to have to do a bunch of renumbering. The printfs that print out the actual menu options themselves, they will have to be reorganized and possibly renumbered as well. It's a bit ugly, all the mucking about that you've got to do. It's very simple changes, but it's very time consuming, and it's easy to get wrong as well. So what I propose, you might even like to do this second exercise first if you're feeling brave enough, because the second exercise is much harder than the first one, is I'd like the entire main menu, in other words the menu that the user sees on the screen, to be driven from an array of structures. And what do I mean by driven? Well, let's look at the structures first. Each menu option is going to be an example of one of these structures. There's going to be a string field, and the string is going to be what gets displayed on the screen. In other words, file open, file close, and all that sort of stuff. That will be displayed on the screen. The second field is a function pointer, and that is going to point to the function that is going to be called when the user chooses the option specified under string. Does that make sense? So what we're going to have is we're going to have an array of these. So essentially we're going to have a whole bunch of strings, and we're going to have a whole bunch of function pointers. And the strings are all going to get printed out one by one, and then the user will enter which menu option they'd like to call, and your program is going to go and access one of those function pointers. Now I promise you, when you see the difference, the dramatic difference this makes to your code, you'll wonder how you could have ever written it the other way in the first place. To make a dramatic difference, you will probably need to initialize an array of structures. Can you remember initializing arrays of structures? You saw that in the very last exercise on sorting those 5 employees. We had an example of 5 initialized employees, where we're going to have 10 menu options. 9 plus the new sorting one. So we're going to have 10 initialized structures, all in an array. Can you do it? It's tricky, but it's going to make a beautiful bit of difference to the code. The code that we end up with is going to be elegant, much simpler, and much more to the point. It's going to be far more maintainable than it was. Whenever it comes to now inserting a new menu option, or deleting a menu option, or repositioning a menu option, it'll be just changing one line of code. One line of code, and that's it. I promise. It'll be so simple. Okay, good luck with that.